The FBI called him Cowboy Bob. He wore a Western-style hat and never spoke a word. He robbed numerous banks back in the 90s, standing at just 5 feet 10 with a grey beard. He led the FBI on a wild goose chase. When he was finally caught with him, they found a secret that would turn the investigation on its head. This is the story of Cowboy Bob. Hello guys, I did a similar video to this a few days back in Spokane, in Washington State, of another individual who would go into a bank with a cowboy hat and would rob the place, and to this day he has not been caught. And during my research I found this story in particular that I found very interesting when I went into more research. So stick around, grab your tea or coffee or whatever it is you drink. This is going to be a very, very interesting story to tell. In May 1991, a man walked into the bank in Irving, Texas, and without speaking handed the cashier a note that read, "This is a bank robbery. Give me your money. No marked bills or die packs." Witnesses reported that the robber was wearing a cowboy hat and a brown leather jacket. The mysterious figure struck again on December the 2nd in Irving, Texas. The mysterious figure struck and left his car parked next to the bank and had his same routine as before and walked away with just $1,200. Since stealing from a bank is a federal crime, the FBI was tasked to bring down this cowboy to justice. Stephen Powell, the FBI agent, was put on this case. Each time when Bob would finish, he would exit before the police could get onto the scene, and due to his stolen license plates, the police were unable to match the car to anyone matching the description. The following year of January of 92, a third bank robbery occurred in Garland, Texas, and 4 months later, the fourth bank robbery occurred. Without any other leads, the police continued to trace license plates, hoping that one of them would turn up to a real name, and then finally one did. The fifth time, in Mesquite, Texas, Bob screwed up. He forgot to replace his real license plate with a fake. The number was written down by one of the bank cashiers who reported it to the police. Thinking that they had their man, the FBI arrested a man named by the name Pete Tallis, only to find out that he had never owned the car. Instead, he had brought it for his sister, Peggy Jo Tallis, as a gift. With the help of Pete, they tracked down Peggy Jo Tallis, paying a visit to her home which they expected to share with her boyfriend. Now, Peggy Jo, they decided, must be the young wild girlfriend of Cowboy Bob. However, they realized how wrong they were. When they expected to find a wild young woman, there was a middle-aged motherly figure who lived in a modest 2-bedroom home with her ailing mother. Even when the agents found a mannequin head with a fake beard in the closet and a sack full of money in the bedroom, they pressed Peggy Jo on the location of her boyfriend. All she had to say, according to Powell, was, "There isn't any man, I promise you that." They asked her if she had a boyfriend or a husband, or if she heard about the recent strings of robberies happening in Texas. Her answer to all of these questions was no, of course she hadn't. She was simply a middle-aged woman who spent all of her free time caring for her ill mother. Her story was backed up by family members, all of whom insisted that she had no boyfriend and no time for a boyfriend. That was when Powell noticed something he hadn't before. There was clinging to Peggy's Jo upper lips was a thin line of glue. In her hair was flakes of grey dye. Suddenly it all came crashing down. Peggy Jo had been telling the truth. Her boyfriend wasn't Cowboy Bob. She was. So who was Peggy Jo? It all started when her mother got sick. Most people the police interviewed claimed that they had been her breaking point. Prior to her mother's illness, Peggy Jo had been a carefree, spirited young woman looking to make a splash in the world. Unfortunately, when she became a caregiver, all that was gone. She began to drown under medical bills and looking for a way out to balance her current situation with her life she had dreamed of. So she turned to bank robbing, thinking that it was the easiest way to make a few extra bucks. She ended up enjoying the thrill so much that she continued to rob banks even after she had enough cash, which ended up being her downfall. Peggy ended up being tried and convicted of her crimes as Cowboy Bob and serving 3 years in prison. By the time she got out, she was almost in her 60s. Her mother had passed away and she took a job where she became a favorite. However, Peggy at her old age might have thought, why not continue where she had left off, as a couple of years later she had walked into a bank and in Tyler, Texas, with a cowboy hat and gloves, and walked out with a bag of money the same way she had done before. By the time Steve Powell, the FBI agent, had left the service, the bank had given the same description of an elderly man with a mustache. 7 months later, on May the 5th, 2005, Peggy had figured she'd pull off one last heist for old time's sake and use the money to move to beaches near Mexico where she had always dreamed of living. She went to the same bank she robbed a few months before. However, now in her old age, with her wits beginning to fail her, rather than go through an elaborate plan and do a disguise she has done in the past, on this occasion, she went simply as herself, wearing sunglasses and a wide-brimmed sun hat. She was also careless. Her thoroughness was lost on her, and rather than check the bills, she simply grabbed them, never noticing the dye pack shoved between them. It exploded as she took the bills, foiling her elaborate plan. She fled the scene running into her RV and she had parked in the lot. Police were alerted and after a short chase cornered her in a residential neighborhood. As cops surrounded the RV, Peggy Jo came out, armed for the first time in her life with a gun. Police were hesitant to shoot, knowing that she had never resorted to violence in the past. Peggy Jo, however, was having none of this, and she said to the police officers, "You mean to tell me if I come out of this vehicle with a gun and pointed at you that you're going to shoot me?" She came out of the RV. 4 officers then fired at once, killing her instantly. Upon further investigation, the officers realized that the gun in her hand had been a fake, a toy pistol. That was the story of Cowboy Bob. Honestly, I found this story very interesting, and I told myself that I need to cover this story with you guys. There was a couple of details that I also included as well that was missing, and I had to get it from other sources as well that was available. But honestly, and that was the story of Cowboy Bob. Thank you for watching, and for more videos like this, please like, share, and subscribe.